O'Neill story. He called me up one time, right? This is back when we were both still living at home with our parents. And I pick up the phone. He's like, Bill. He goes, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm not doing anything. He goes, yeah, let's go up to the Square One Mall. And I'm like, all right, where's that? And he's like, it's up near Saugus, up near the Kowloon. And I go, all right, well, why the fuck I go, what do we have to go up there for? He goes, well, you know, I need to get a mop. I go, you need to get a mop? He goes, yeah. And granted, this fucking mall is like, there's like 3 malls between where Patrice lived and where I lived. And he wants to go all the way out of his fucking way to go up to this goddamn mall. And I'm like, well, what the fuck kind of mall? What kind of mop do they have at the Square One Mall? And he's like, he goes, one of them Square One Mall mops, motherfucker. And he starts flipping out on me. So I go, all right. I just finally got it out of him. He wanted to go up there because it was right when they first put cheese in the fucking crust of pizza, and he wanted to try it out. He started laughing when I finally got it out. He goes, I got to try it. I got to see what it's all about. So we drove up in the middle of the fucking day, sitting in traffic on Route 1 to buy a fucking mop, and so he could try stuffed crust pizza. I don't know why I told you that. I'm trying to fill up the fucking hour here. Have I done an hour? Is it mercifully over? It's kind of like when you first start dating a woman. You know, when she wants a relationship, when she comes over to your apartment, what she starts to do is she leaves shit there because it gives her an excuse to come back. I mean, that's fucking nuts, right? Like, they're thinking that far ahead. All you're sitting there is like, oh, look at those tits. Oh, what the fuck her? Right? That's all you're thinking. And they're sitting there plotting. You know what I mean? It's like you're some fucking head coach that has no game plan, and she's across the field like fucking Bill Walsh calling the first 25 plays of the game, right? Oh, I love a football life. There's a nice reference to use. So, you know what's fucking hilarious? And speaking of which, the Patrice O'Neill benefit's coming up once again. I'll tell you a quick Patrice story. He was so fucking brilliant that I remember he was dating this woman and, you know, or whatever, seeing her, and she started leaving shit around his house. And I just had brought that up. I go, yeah, you know, I dated this woman, you know, she left this shit here and she left that. It's like, what the fuck, you know? I only see her like, you know, once every 2 weeks. She just has shit there. So for 2 weeks, I keep looking at her fucking brush or the shampoo she left or whatever. And I keep thinking about her and it's annoying me. And Patrice just goes, so throw it out. I go, what? He goes, throw it out. I go, I can't throw out a brush. He goes, I would. I go, get the fuck out of it. He goes, yeah. He goes, I did that. And he told me a story where there was a woman he was messing around with, and she left these toiletries and a little bag of, like, you know, makeup and brush and all that, and he fucking threw it out. And then she came back like a week and a half later, and she goes to go in the bathroom, and she's like, hey, what did you do with my stuff? He goes, and he just plays dumb. He goes, what stuff? She goes, I left shampoo here, a little makeup bag. He goes, oh, that was yours? Yeah. He goes, yeah, I threw it out. And she was like literally beside herself, but actually on some level respected him for like fucking realizing what she was doing. And then also, I think because that early on, he clearly let her know in a very funny fucking way that he wasn't looking for a relationship, and that she was able to relax and kind of be thinking, we're just fucking. All right. I wanted a little more. He doesn't, at least, but he let her know so fucking early on that it didn't really hurt. You know? Does that make sense? I mean, maybe I'm speaking for her, but I guess I am. But whatever. Either way, it was fucking funny. Oh, Jesus. Was that the fucking worst? I literally just jumped out of the plane and pulled a fucking ripcord on that story. Sorry. It's been a while. It's been a while since I told that story. Hasn't it? Or have I told it before? Work. They're thinking he was just helping them go out there and fucking rape people. And so anyways, the Improv ended up being the ones that gave him tape.
And it was fucking hilarious. So they found like an evening at the Improv that he did, and they just put this clip on where he was doing like relationship material. So like, so-and-so busted for being a serial rapist was actually a stand-up comedian for the last 17 years. And then they just cut to his act. He's just like, women are always shopping. They're always, like, I mean, guys, we don't know what we're wearing, right? Just doing that like classic fucking awful 80s stand-up shit. And this guy was actually a serial fucking rapist, man. It was unreal. I remember a long time ago when I started out in Boston. Wham, bam, bam, boop, boop, doop. Me and Patrice got an idea where we were going to write a movie, which of course meant we were never going to do it. Where we were going to have a stand-up comedian that was actually a serial killer. And we got the idea watching Dave Attell. When we watched Dave, when we first saw him, he was just so different and so fucking out there and so dark, and then like walled off. Like we didn't know him at all now that we know he's a total fucking sweetheart. But we came up with this idea, and the dude, it was like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer meets Punchline. And the dude would go out on the road, and he'd be up there I guess we were going to make it more like a Dave Attell style, which kind of probably would have given it away. I imagine once we brought it to the industry, they'd be like, what if he was just like, everybody loved him? What about that? All right. What if he only kills people that deserve to die, right? Like they'd be pitching, what the fuck's that serial killer movie or TV show? Oh, God, I can't wait to get these fucking whiskers out of my throat. The fuck is the name of that show? It was on Showtime with the guy from 6 Feet Under. Was it Larry? Who's Larry or something like that? The fuck was it called? I used to watch it. He stepped through the plastic. I watched it until he paired up with Jimmy Smits, and then it just fucking went over the top for me, and I had to stop watching. What the fuck was that show called? You know what I'm saying. Plus, after a while, it annoyed me that he only killed bad people. This serial killer with the heart of gold. Anyways, so we came up with an idea to write a movie, basically so that he'd go out and he would do gigs, and then in the end of the night, he'd have a couple of pops up at the bar, and then he would go out and go kill people. And we'd be like, fuck, that'd be the sickest fucking movie ever. And we did not write one word. Not a fucking word. I'm going to just start telling you guys all the ideas for movies that I'm never going to fucking write, because maybe one of you will sit down and actually write the fucking thing, because I'd watch that movie. I'd play the fucking person, right? He'll play the person. I'll play the fucking serial killer. Anyways, all right, there's your little half hour for the week, huh? I'm helping you along through your goddamn week, man, through your fucking week. Instead of smashing the watermelons, he's going to eat them. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, which brings me to this tub of shit. Patrice O'Neill. What I've loved about him is he's fat and arrogant. It's the oddest combination I've ever seen in my life. Like, he refuses to do Comic View. He actually feels that he's above it. I will not do Comic View. Patrice, your whole act is perfect for that show. You do 11 minutes, you pretend to talk about Russia, and then you do 52 minutes of pussy jokes. And you won't do Comic View? I mean, Patrice, you're so comic. You got a deal for your own TV show. You blew all your money on a pinky ring, a used Cadillac, and football jerseys. And you won't do Comic View? Patrice, you are Comic View. Why didn't you at least get your fucking teeth fixed? Patrice, you have the worst teeth in entertainment. None of them match. I worked in a dental office for 5 years. I've never seen anybody with a molar in the front. You have no business having a headshot. Howard Feller called. He wants his old teeth back. Look at the space between his front teeth. He looks like a fat 50 Cent. Poor 50 Cent. I'm just fucking with them.
I do. I got to do a disclaimer. I'm getting the most fucking groans here. And Patrice is fat. Patrice has that awful fat person bad breath where you don't know if it's coming, the smell's coming from his mouth or one of the folds in his neck. Patrice's breath smells worse than Jim Norton's chest. But I make fun of Patrice. I make fun of Patrice only because I'm jealous of his career. Seriously, he's doing great. He just booked the lead to the sequel to Mighty Joe Young. Patrice, you really do look like an out-of-shape gorilla. You look like that gorilla at the zoo that doesn't want to fuck anymore. All right, I was playing with all you. God bless all you. I love you, Patrice. Known you for 10 years. Seriously, man. I'd do anything for you. Thank you.
After hearing you, along with so many other comics, universally laud Patrice, I finally watched Elephant in the Room special. Within minutes, he had me in stitches. It's so easy to see why he was so revered within the comedy community. I know you hold him, both as a comedian as a person, in an incredibly high regard. I would love to hear some of your insight into him. I recently heard that he was permanently banned from performing at the Stand in New York. What was that about? No, he was never banned from the Stand. The Stand came out or opened right around when Patrice got sick. He wasn't banned from there. Anyways, really big fan of the show and would love to see you come to Australia again soon. Patrice was getting banned from comedy clubs all the time. All the time, but he was so fucking good, they had to let him back in. It reminds me of when I read this Miles Davis book, and he was talking about Charlie Parker, and when he would party too much and pawn his horn, and these clubs would kick him out, they'd eventually have to fucking bring him back in because he was the best, and Patrice was the best, and, you know, as much as he would drive him nuts, you wanted him around. You wanted him around. It's just like the comedy dropped by 40%, even with all the other comics still going there, if he wasn't there, and just the fun. And then they also knew that if they banned him, that none of the comics were going to hang out at their clubs. We were all going to go to where he was. So then they would let him back into the club. And then they created the table. That's how I remember it. That's how I thought that we'll have them all, these fucking lunatics, just have them sit in the back at the goddamn table. So then we were sitting down, and it just, it was just a bunch of dogs in a fucking pit, and then that's how the trashing was already happening. I remember one night, after I took the pounding for fucking the bus gig that I never even did, I remember when Bobby first shaved his head, he came in, and I always respected him for this. He came in, he had like a hat on, and he sat down right at the the fat gay guy comic here. Listen to this story. He didn't shy away from the table. He fucking walked right in, sat down, took his hat off, and looked at everybody like, all right, give it to me. Let's hear it. And fucking everybody it was like a Def Jam bit. He took his hat off, and everybody just, what the fuck? He took this fucking pounding, and everyone was getting him, and he was just sitting there taking it, laughing, and all that type of stuff. And I actually thought he looked good with the shaved head, right? And what's his face? Who said it? I think it was Esty. Esty finally got him with one. I think she said, "You look like David Wells." I think that's what she said, and everybody fucking died laughing. And Bobby literally just stood up and just walked out. And I remember thinking, like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could walk out. I saw Keith Robinson do that one time, too. We were trashing his clothes so fucking bad. And he was trying to fight back, and he was just feeling that wave was going to crash over him. He just fucking ran out the door, got in his car, and drove home to Jersey. And we kept texting him and calling him, going, "You can't do that. You can't do that." He was like, "Oh, yeah, well, I just did, stupid." Fucking hung up on us, laughed and hung up on us. Oh, my God. I remember that fucking time Patrice, somehow we found out he was home on a Saturday night. He just took like a night off. And Jim Norton fucking came in and said, "You know where Patrice is right now? He's at home." on a Saturday night, and they all called him up and on speakerphone. Patrice just picks up. He's like, hello. And Jim's like, what the fuck are you doing home on a Saturday night? You don't have any gigs? And Patrice just fucking roared laughing, and we all over speakerphone trashed him. He was at home getting trashed at the table. And I just remember him he loved every fucking second of it. The table's one of the great things ever. So, don't listen to that guy.
One of the best beatings ever. Were you there for the Bill Burr beating when he took the greatest beating?
Not only was I there, Bill tried to fight it off for so long, trying to fight back, and eventually he just sat there, and everybody just kept doing. I remember I told Bill he was eating chicken as if he just beat cancer. He was taking the smallest sickly bites. I said, Bill, will you eat the fucking piece of chicken? It literally took Bill 3 minutes to eat a buffalo wing.
We found out who ratted him out.
I think it was it wasn't Patrice. It
was Keith, myself, Kevin, Patrice, and we found
somebody told on him.
It was the Yankees Diamondbacks World Series 2001, I think. And we found out Bill got a gig performing comedy on a bus that was taking people to the game.
No fucking way.
He was doing a road.
Fucking way.
He was a bus comic.
And Bill was getting the pay he was getting was that he got to go to the game. And I don't remember who teased him or who first mentioned it, but it's one of the...
Was it Bobby? Did Bobby tell us?
I don't remember who
Somebody told us, but when I say we beat the shit out of Bill verbally...
It was one of the greatest all-time beatings ever given to a comedian.
It would have to be with that situation.
It got to the point where Bill had nothing to do but attack other people's careers. What are you doing, Kevin? What job? What gig are you getting? Shut up, stupid. Why don't you go get on the MTA and tell some jokes?
You remember some of the lines?
No, but I know we made fun of him. Is it weird performing when you're not going backwards?
That should be a DVD, man.
The comedians, of course, everyone did the fucking walking down the steps performing joke and fucking.
Did they make you stop your jokes when they got to announce the bus stop? Hold on, Bill, for a second. Just wait 1 second.
Do you know you're bombing and people are like pushing the button over? It was fucking. It was literally a 45-minute assault, and Bill just got mad at one point. Hey, at least my parents don't drink. It was like that type of.
Got ugly. How long was your set? 10 stops?
Dude, it was a great.
That was really brutal.
That is brutal.
I've witnessed some good ones. I remember I brought a girl in one time. She was actually good looking, not a bad looking girl, man. But she had this hat on. She had a hat.
That's all it takes.
This hat, I'm telling you, her body was nice. She had a nice ass, was cute in the face. She had a hat, and they was like, "What are you doing with a Russian spy?" Everybody kept sneaking around like as if they were. They kept doing spy shit.
Just creeping out.
It's like all you can do is dude, she's a good lady. And I'm bringing her in it. Sweetie, look, take your hat off for a second. Show her. She's like, wow, what's wrong? And she's doing stuff to amp it up. She's putting the hat backwards. And oh, Jesus. It's no beating it, man. I can honestly say the best times of my life were probably at the Comedy Cellar. I remember my birthday, Keith got me drunk. I was 21. I just turned 22. It was my birthday, but there I never drank there. Even though we did, it wasn't really a thing to do. We didn't sit around and get drunk.
Who started that? Patrice, who started that Bill Burr beating? Who started that Bill Burr bus beating?
Oh, you know what it was? I'll tell you what it is. Jim Norton is really. You got to be careful because another thing, Kev is like this too, and I think it's that Napoleon complex thing, and it's a really. Kev, this jerk off story started one day. We used to go downstairs back in the day at the Cellar when guys would be performing. Okay,
oh, right.
And we would sit there and all sit in the front row and stare at.
Oh, get the fuck out!
Oh yeah, we did it to Kevin a few times. Yeah,
oh, that's brutal.
Jesus.
This was the test. I mean, we were brutal. We used to have a hat court. We would put up somebody's act on court.
They did it to me.
That bit you do sucked.
Hack court. I love it. Hack court.
Really.
You put a bit on trial.
Dude, they would do it all the time.
Fantastic.
I had a joke.
So we went downstairs and sat in front of him, and he was flustered. We was getting him. And he just caught me jerking off in his house. this how you know he fucking started imitating working off at his house.
Damn sure did. I pushed the button. I didn't have nothing else left.
He started cutting out of that like it was nasty how it hurt me. I said he had to do what he had to do because he fucking had to get out that situation by any means necessary. Now here's this fucker Jim. Bill was talking about something and Jim said something and Bill said something to Jim and Jim didn't like what Bill said to him. Like he said it was going to be embarrassing and Jim was going to get a fucking beating for what happened and I forgot what it was. But Jim goes in front of me, Kev, Keith, and I think it was another guy.
Bob Kelly.
Bobby was there for the bus beating.
It was Kelly, but it was me and Lil Kev that was giving the beating with the but Norton goes. At least I'm not performing on a bus.
That's right.
I did not remember that.
No, that's right. Patrice, you're 100% right. Because Bill was going at it with you, Jim, and he hit you with something. He hit you good, and we were about to attack you. You're right, Patrice. We were about to jump on your ass.
Jimmy had an atomic bomb.
And Jim had it in his back pocket.
I did not remember that.
Threw a neutron bomb. Everybody said,
What? I remember that. We said, what?
Great deflection.
To this day, there was 4 beatings of all time, and I'm telling you, Norton was a part of two of my biggest laughs I've ever had in my life. But this
bus beating is legendary.
Of Kev, because what happened is you feed Kev the important lines, and he would just make it he would take it to the next level. And what the whole thing was for an hour was, what happens if you start bombing? And then where do you come from and where do you go when you finish?
We said, where did they announce you from? We said, where did they bring you up from? We said Bill was behind the bus driver, Bill Burr. And he just takes a step out. Hey. He was just sitting in the front seat. Like, there's no way for them not to know that he was the comic. Like, we was like, how do you sneak on stage, Bill?
Oh my God.
And they said if he started bombing, what he would do is go after one joke bombs, he just look out the window and go, if you look to your left.
Oh shit!
It was an all-timer, but man, good reminiscent days.
And then was it over
like the public address system?
Oh, dude.
Like, hey, how about the I went to the container store with my girlfriend.
Let me tell you, when
But that fucking Norton, you don't remember? Norton just said, at least I'm not doing.
Jimmy knew his life was being threatened.
I swear to God, Patrice is not lying. He's not lying. Jim, you did.
On a bus for World Series tickets, and
I didn't remember that. I certainly believe it.
Oof. Yeah, no, wait a minute. But Bill looked at you.
Like how could you do that? Like, how could you do that?
Why?
Out of all things to do,